Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's report focuses on an unverified claim that has sparked widespread speculation across the Middle East and beyond. That Qatar has declared plans to strike back at Israel. The story has gained massive traction online, but so far it remains unconfirmed. In this video we will break down what actually happened, what's known from reliable sources, how the rumor started, and what this could mean for the region moving forward. To begin, the background is essential. In early September 2025, Israel conducted an airstrike in Doha, the capital of Qatar. According to Israeli sources, the target was Hamas leadership allegedly coordinating operations from within Qatari territory. The strike resulted in 6 fatalities, including 4 Hamas members and 2 Qatari security personnel. Israel has not officially confirmed responsibility, but regional intelligence agencies and eyewitness reports leave little doubt about who carried out the attack. The Israeli government justified the operation as a counter-terrorism measure. For Qatar, however, it was seen as an act of aggression and a blatant violation of national sovereignty. In an emergency press briefing, Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani described the strike as state terrorism. He stated that Qatar will not tolerate continued violations, and reserves the right to respond in an appropriate manner. Those words immediately reverberated across diplomatic and media circles. Some interpreted the statement as a signal of potential military retaliation, while others saw it as a diplomatic warning rather than a declaration of war. Within hours, unverified reports began circulating online claiming that Qatar had declared plans to strike Israel. The phrase quickly went viral on social media platforms, amplified by hashtags and accounts that offered no direct sourcing or evidence. Major international outlets, however, including Al Jazeera, Reuters, and the Associated Press, have found no evidence that Qatar has formally announced any military action. Official statements from Doha have emphasized restraint and diplomacy, while condemning the attack in strong terms. The Qatari Ministry of Foreign Affairs called it a flagrant violation of international law, and urged the international community to hold Israel accountable. This careful language suggests a firm but measured response, not an outright declaration of war. Still, the ambiguity of Qatar's statements leaves room for interpretation. When leaders use phrases like, reserves the right to respond, it often becomes fertile ground for speculation. Many social media users, eager for breaking updates, took these words literally, posting headlines and graphics implying Qatar was preparing for military strikes. Some even claimed that Qatari air bases were being mobilized or that the Gulf Cooperation Council, known as the GCC, was meeting to plan a coordinated counter-attack. None of these reports have been confirmed by credible defense or diplomatic sources. What we do know is that the Gulf region is now on high alert. Following the Doha airstrike, defense ministers from GCC states including Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, Oman held an urgent meeting in Riyadh. Their joint statement expressed solidarity with Qatar and condemned Israel's violation of regional sovereignty. They also agreed to strengthen joint security measures, intelligence sharing, and air defense coordination. While this shows unity and growing concern, there was no mention of any direct military retaliation. The focus, for now, remains on diplomacy and collective deterrence. In international forums, Qatar has moved swiftly to build diplomatic pressure. Its representatives have submitted a formal complaint to the United Nations, urging the Security Council to investigate what it calls an unlawful act of aggression. The Qatari delegation also appealed to the International Court of Justice, citing breaches of sovereignty and international norms. Meanwhile, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights described Israel's airstrike as a shocking breach of international law, and called for an independent investigation. These moves demonstrate Qatar's current strategy, using diplomatic and legal avenues to isolate Israel and gather international support. At the same time, the United States and several European governments have called for de-escalation. Washington's official statement reaffirmed its commitment to Israel's security, but urged all sides to avoid actions that could widen the conflict. Analysts say Qatar's Western allies are urging restraint, knowing that any direct retaliation would have severe regional and global consequences. Qatar, home to one of the largest U.S. military bases in the Middle East, is unlikely to take steps that would directly endanger its relationship with Washington. So why are these unverified claims spreading so widely? The answer lies in today's information environment. In times of tension, statements are often amplified, reinterpreted, or distorted for clicks and attention. Phrases like, reserves the right to respond, easily become, declares retaliation, in viral posts even when the evidence doesn't support that conclusion. Additionally, Anonymous Telegram channels and partisan networks often exploit ambiguity to push political narratives. In this case, both pro- and anti-Israel groups have been accused of spreading manipulated headlines for their own agendas. Despite the lack of confirmation, the perception that Qatar might strike Israel has already affected regional sentiment. Financial markets across the Gulf showed brief volatility, with oil prices rising nearly 2% on the day the rumors began trending. Investors often react to geopolitical uncertainty before facts are verified. Meanwhile, travel advisories for citizens in Qatar and Israel were briefly updated by several embassies, citing security concerns, though none reported imminent military threats. Behind the scenes, regional diplomats are working hard to prevent further escalation. Turkey, Oman, and Egypt have all offered to mediate between Doha and Tel Aviv, hoping to contain the fallout from the airstrike. These countries have experience mediating between Israel and Arab states and understand how quickly tensions can spiral. According to regional observers, Qatar's leadership is balancing two competing imperatives, showing domestic and regional strength in the face of Israeli aggression, while avoiding a confrontation that could destabilize the Gulf. It's important to note that Qatar's foreign policy historically favors mediation over militarization. The country has long hosted negotiations between conflicting sides, from the Taliban peace talks to ceasefire discussions between Israel and Hamas. It has also maintained discreet but functional channels of communication with Israel, even during times of hostility. A direct military strike would represent a sharp departure from Qatar's traditional approach, something that would shock both allies and adversaries. For now, no reliable intelligence, satellite imagery, or defense reporting indicates any unusual military mobilization by Qatar. U.S. Central Command, which operates out of Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, has issued no alerts suggesting heightened readiness levels. Regional analysts say this silence is telling. If Qatar were truly preparing a strike, such movements would likely be visible to international observers almost immediately. So, what happens next? Observers are closely monitoring several key indicators: any new statements from Qatari or Israeli officials, movement of defense assets in the Gulf, and the tone of coverage from state-affiliated media. Qatar's leadership may continue using diplomatic tools to pressure Israel, while reinforcing its message that sovereignty must be respected. Israel, for its part, maintains that it will continue operations against groups it considers hostile, even outside its borders. This tension, between national security on one side and sovereignty on the other, defines the current standoff. In conclusion, the claim that Qatar has declared plans to strike back at Israel remains unverified. There is no official confirmation, no military order, and no credible evidence to support it. What we are seeing instead is a mix of real outrage, strong rhetoric, and online speculation. The truth is that Qatar is exploring diplomatic, legal, and possibly strategic options, but not a military strike, as global powers call for. The coming weeks will determine whether this incident becomes a turning point in Middle Eastern relations or another episode in a long and complex history of conflict and mistrust. For now, viewers are urged to verify information carefully, follow credible news outlets, and be wary of sensational claims that spread without evidence. We will continue monitoring this story and bring you verified updates as new information emerges. Thank you for watching. If you found this report helpful and informative, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more detailed fact-based analysis of global developments. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you in the next update.